Hello guys and welcome back. So now we're going to explore some innovations of the Pioneer format with these ongoing regional championships for the Southeast Asia region in Singapore. So one of the currently undefeated list, which with the ongoing day one of the tournament, is this build which we are going to feature today, and this is the Azorius humans or the blue-white humans by Ting Wei Tan. So in that familiarity, the two top tier decks that was included their components was banned in the past few weeks, and so the format has made some significant changes, including of course the rise of these Rakdos sacrifice, or let's say the version of like a third trick kill kind of adaptation coming from the standard format with these new cards of Bloomburrow. But for now, these other existing archetypes has somewhat shown its popularity, or has become one of the decks that has emerged from the results of those bannings. And so we're going to explore this build. Since the humans deck is basically tribal, expect a lot of creatures in this build with 38, only 3 instants in the main deck, and mostly the rest are lands, with 22 in count. So having this blue mana of yours gets you access to a new card from Bloomburrow, which has become somewhat significant in this build. This card is the Mockingbird. It has ability that comes a copy of any creature with value equal or less than the amount of mana spent. So in this case, it can do a lot of shenanigans in this build, amounting to like having these cards, copying Brutal Qatar or copying Tailless Lieutenant, would also result in additional ETB effects that can be very relevant in this deck, given it's very aggressive per se. So we're going to explore first what are the setup of this build, as we can go with the humans lineup. So we can check first the 8 1-drops in this build, or probably 12. You can see here the usual suspects of the humans. We have Hopeful Initiate, that's 4 copies. 4 copies of Dauntless Bodyguard, which in any case becomes a bodyguard in the deck that can put the chosen creature again acceptable by sacrificing it. And also Recruitment Officer, which is very relevant mid-game by having itself a good mana sink with his ability of looking at top 4 cards and revealing a creature card with mana 3 or less. So in a case, 1-drop and 2-drops are pretty much very important in this build, whereas to maintain your aggressive synergy and strategy, and can basically curve out well for an aggro deck. So in support of these 1-drops, we have 2 types of cards that can basically protect them, or kind of adding some relevant effects. So first one is Copper Coat Vanguard. This can have your humans ward and +1/+0. That means each other humans, and making sure that additional damage would also be provided whenever you attack or curve out well. And also Talia, Guardian of Traven, which can basically tax out these relevant decks that uses non-creature spells. For instance, we can highlight Izzet Phoenix as a way that can be bothered by this build, though it can be easily killed by its 1 mana cost or 1 toughness. We have of course some cards such as Copper Goat Vanguard or even Dauntless Bodyguard to protect them from those spot removals. And of course the pump effects would go well with Tailless Lieutenant. You must of course curve off with a few of your 1-drops and 2-drops, and then cast Tailless Lieutenant to put those counters on its other human creatures you control. And of course, whenever human enters the battlefield, you can also put a summon counter on Tailless Lieutenant, therefore making it bigger and also another threat on its own. Now for your 3-drops, you can here as the very aggressive or a hard hitter card in the form of Adeline. So the line would have this power equal to the number of creatures controlled, though whenever you attack for each opponent, you will create a 1/1 white human creature token to stop when attacking. And creating this token would also mean that it would also trigger Tailless Lieutenant,
We're also adding inflammation counter as the human token enters the battlefield. And the other creature, along with the 3-drop, is your brutal Qatar that can exile opponent's creatures. Can also become a relevant 3/3 first strike when it goes Nightbound. But the important thing here is that you can very sure that you can curve out pretty well with these 1-drops, 2-drops into add the line and to make sure additional mockingbirds to copy relevant creatures on your board. Now for the only instant in the deck, the main deck is Get Lost, which is very relevant as it can not only kill off creatures but also enchantments and planeswalkers of your opponents. At the cost of having them creating these tokens, these mock tokens would not really be relevant as long as you can get your damage done to their face and make your life total get to 0 as early as possible. Now for the lineup for the lands, aside from the mana fix of the blue white, of course we have Cavern of Souls, naming humans as make sure that the humans will revolve, and given that today's metagame is probably dominated by these blue-white control decks, which somewhat caters a lot of color spells, then Cavern of Souls would be really relevant to make sure that your creatures get through and you can curb out in your first 3 turns. So of course, you can notice under here, Dark Waste, the Chrome Coast as our other fix. And of course, Metavolt, which also can act as a human because it can also attack as a 2/2. Much more if you have also your Coppercoat Vanguard. It also pumps your Metavolt into a 3/2 creature. And the added effect are your Ganjo, of course, or combat 3 effects that can deal 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Now for your lineup on your sideboard, I've noticed here that's very authentic or like straightforward in terms of these choices. If you may match up with other aggro creatures, just put in Portable Hole and remove those relevant or slow creatures from your main deck. If you are facing mid-range or other control decks, Wedding Announcement is your best choice, as you can create tokens, these 1/1 humans, or draws you a card and later on can become an added effect. Or also similar fashion against those mid-range decks, Anointed Peacekeeper will also your best choice to make sure you have a relevant creature and can also tax those cards that was chosen, that any card name from their opponent's hand. And addition also, Rest in Peace, since Reanimators and maybe even Blue-White Phoenix decks or Blue-White Phoenix, are those matchups that are pertaining to be targeted specifically by this enchantment. Make sure that your shenanigans or graveyards are removed. Any other relevant effects are stopped by this enchantment. So that is your lineup for the sideboard. And last but not the least, we check on the mana cost, which will probably go with additional mostly white with a splash of blue, and the curve is very small, 1.76 only. And make sure that's 3 mana are all you need to make sure that you can have a good set of starting curve and can be able to deal damage as fast and easy as possible. And last but not the least are your tokens. We have Clue Token, Human Token, and Map Token created among the effects of your cards. So I think this probably ending the game or day 1 for the C Championships. I think it has already drawn its last match or last 2 match to make sure that you can play for day 2, and probably I think you can even go with the top 8 given the relevant matchups that it can be having a good advantage with. So I guess that's pretty much it today for this Azorius Humans deck tech by Ting Wei Tan from the C Champs ongoing tournament today. Do make sure to like, subscribe, notifications on, and thank you for watching this featured Pioneer deck tech video, and see you on the next one.